The Guild Burgesses are at the core of the Guild, which goes back to 1179. The Burgesses were a member of this Guild. They have the right to trade in the town. Burgesses pass their rights down from father to son, and so once every 20 years is around once in a generation.
The Preston Guild rolls are basically lists of all of the Burgesses that took part in Preston Guild right back from 1397 up until 1992. To be a Burgess in Preston Guild, you have to have inherited the right unless you manage to pay to get in.
The Guild Burgesses are at the core of the Guild, which goes back to 1179, and the Burgesses were a member of this Guild. They have the right to trade in the town and to manufacture in the town, and in a way it was like a quality check. But this completely disappeared in the early 19th century when free trade came in. But by this time, Preston loved its Guild so much. The Guild had also become a cause of celebration within the town, that there was no way they were going to give it up. They wanted to carry on, and so we've carried on to this day. The Guild's roll is a record of the Guild Burgesses. It's a list, if you like, and this is what is used each time to trace the Burgesses again.
My name's Kathryn, I'm one of the Access Archivists at Lancashire Archive. We hold and look after Preston Guild rolls here at Lancashire Archives. We've got Guild rolls dating back from 1397 right up until 1992, and each Guild roll is a list of all of the men that have taken part as Burgesses of Preston Guild. In each roll you get 3 lists, except for the very later ones where you get just 2 lists. The first list are the in-Burgesses, which are Burgesses that are living actually in Preston itself. The second list is the foreign Burgesses or out-Burgesses, which are men living around the outside of Preston and further afield. And the third list are those who've paid to get into the Guild, and that's the list of fines. I think, even though it's called a Guild roll, it's obviously in a volume. It's only the very earliest ones that are actually flat pieces of parchment that would have been rolled up to be stored. So this is dated 1662. And on the front page of every single Guild roll you get this sort of a front piece that's decorated and lists the mayor and the aldermen that are involved in that year's Guild. So this one's 1882, and you can see it's illuminated, and it's got various heraldry and lists of those involved in the Guild. These are the most important people really: the mayor and the aldermen, the stewards, the councilmen. And you've got the original wax seal there.
In 1992, the Guild committee made a big decision to admit daughters to the roll as well as sons. In 2012, the daughters and sons of all those daughters and sons are entitled to become Burgesses. So these are the hereditary Burgesses. In addition to that, we have honorary Burgesses. And in the last century or two, this has tended to be people who have been of service to the town. People like past mayors, the Guild courts clerk, and also the Guild mayor, and then maybe just 1 or 2 very special people, like in 92, Tom Finney became an honorary Burgess.
All the rolls are kept in our strong rooms at Lancashire Archives. There's humidity controls, temperature controls and security controls. So we really keep them in pristine condition and really secure from anything that's going to happen. It's the safest place for them basically to be in the strong rooms at Lancashire Archives. They get used by the public on duplicate copies, on microfilm and microfiche, and that is simply to preserve the rolls themselves, because they're parchment, they're fragile, and they're so well used by our visitors that they'd soon get damaged if people were handling them day in, day out. As of July the 28th, 2012, they're also going to be online, so people can access them at home or from our computers or wherever they like really, and they can search the full list of the Guild rolls from there.
It's quite a big job to trace all the Burgesses from the 92 Guild. Lots of them are contacting us via the website and letting us know of the changes in circumstances, where they live, their sons and daughters. So we're expecting possibly around 1,200, 1,300 Burgesses this time, which obviously has quite a big impact on the Guild court. Not everybody has to come to the court in order to be on the roll, as long as they complete the form and pay the fee, or fine as it used to be called. At the end of the adjourned Guild Court, the Guild's roll is closed for another 20 years, and the court too, and this is where the ceremony comes to an end.